jumped ahead here toward the very end of summer. We're at the end of August. We've also jumped into a different part of our test garden because I really wanted you to see these tomatoes. Right now we have in our herb garden. Now that's not the kind of a place you would normally plant tomatoes, at least we wouldn't. If you grow herbs, you know that there's a softness to herbs. They very often have a gray tone to their leaves, and when they flower they're usually in whites or pinks or a soft lavender, and tomato plants would not be something you would think to put in your herb garden. But that shows one of the things about the Veggie Cage that makes it such a great support for just about anywhere that you would like to put it in your home garden, and that is that by the time a plant gets halfway through the summer, it pretty much obscures the Veggie Cage. As a matter of fact, you can see it down here a little bit, but I have to actually pull this aside to show you that it's up here. It's perfect. It's an aesthetically pleasing way to support your plants. A big old wire cage would look so out of place in a garden that really ought to have a little bit of romance to it here in the herb garden. Another thing I wanted you to see about this was the fact that our plants are not perfect. You know, our professional test garden here is no different than you at home. When it gets to be brutal weather, you're going to have trouble keeping your plants looking their best. We had triple digits week after week with no rain. And so just like you, we spent a lot of our time just keeping our plants alive, let alone making them look their best. But once again, it really is a good opportunity to show you how well the Veggie Cage stands up to the heat. This has been out here baking in this sun, 103, we had 104 degree temperatures a couple days in a row. It was brutal, and yet there's no fading, there's no sagging, they're UV protected, the color stays, and as long as you do the right thing in the beginning of the season, and we put instructions in there, just making sure they start well, they just do a great job no matter what the weather is. As a matter of fact, we had some brutal winds too. Here, we're smack in the middle of Missouri here, and we have some amazing storms. So our porch furniture ends up across the street, but our Veggie Cage is still standing. You'd never know what hit it. So it's just a great, sturdy support. It's easy to get these tomatoes. As you can see, I'm not going to miss a one. This came out much bigger than we planned for this tomato plant. We tried using some time-release granular fertilizer this year, and it just worked beautifully. We're going to do it with everything next year. And so look at the size of this plant. Now, here we are. This is a perfect example of how easy the Veggie Cage is to use. I missed one, just like you're going to miss some at home. We always tell you in the beginning, make sure you watch your plants. About once a week, if you see one that's starting to grow out, just gently put it back in, because by the time they get to this size, as you can see, a couple of them have grown out. I missed a couple, but it's okay. The ones that I missed, they're doing fine because the bulk of the plant is encaged and it's sturdy and it's growing real happy. But if you want to fix it, here's all you have to do. See, I missed it. This one should have been here, but I can't put it there without hurting my plant. So what I'm going to do is just move it over just the smallest little bit. Just give it a gentle little whoop. There you go. That took me about 30 seconds, not even. And it's all ready. Now it can continue to grow up with the rest of the tomato plant, sturdy and well protected. And as long as it's going to bloom, we're going to pick. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about was the size of this plant. It did get a little bit bigger than we thought. This is a pink girl, which is never really meant to be quite that big. These will go up to 6 feet. Now this is one of last year's tomato stakes, and it's not quite 6 feet tall. It could have gone further. We could have pulled the Veggie Cage up further. But even with the plant this size, it's completely able to handle that. And look at the size of these tomatoes. I can't wait to eat this. This is an enormous tomato. That's going to feed two of us. But the Veggie Cage is able to handle that. You know, sometimes when people get their Veggie Cages out of the package, well, here, let me show you one. This is what they're going to look like when they come to you. Of course, they're going to come with instructions in a nice clear plastic bag. And of course, they'll be all put together with the little nibs that make it nice for shipping. But once you break those apart, here's what it's going to look like. You might look at this and think to yourself, how on earth can that hold up a big tomato plant? Oh, sure, maybe cherry tomatoes, but a big plant. But as you can see, it does a great job, and here's why. It's pretty flexible like this. As a matter of fact, this is part of the beauty of the Veggie Cage, because at the end of the season, you're going to be able to collapse this back down and store it, just hanging it on, well, we stack ours on top of each other, but you could hang it on a little peg on your garage wall if you want to. But when a tomato grows up inside here, just think of your arms as being the main branches of the tomato plant. They're going to grow up in there, and as they get bigger and bigger, they're going to lean out. They're going to get heavy because they're going to have those delicious tomatoes on them. they're going to lean out, and as you can see, it gets real sturdy and real stiff. The more tomato that's in there, the better the Veggie Cage likes it. It's just an amazing product. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and pick this because we're getting ready for lunch. Beautiful.